All right. Good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started here shortly. Give a few folks a little bit more time to hop on. All right. Good morning, everybody. Just want to welcome everybody to our first webinar series for the design division here, final PS&E processing section. I figured it'd be a good start, FY26 just started a couple days ago. It'd be a good chance for us to go over all of the processes and procedures that we do from a section standpoint to help get your projects across the finish line. So first up, we're going to discuss PS&E pre-submittal and submittal checklists. We have Arturo Sanchez and Zaida Villegas to present on that. We'll have a short Q&A after that as well. Moving on, we'll go to early plans posting and plans online. Micah Shaw and Rebecca Lucas will be presenting on that. Next up, we'll do mandatory pre-bid meeting requests and everything that entails that. Monica Gonzalez will be presenting on that, our newly professional engineer for the state. So congratulations to her on that. And Sam Moore will be assisting her with that as well. Lastly, we'll wrap up today's webinar series with hazmat requests and what that looks like. Jacob Harrington and Alison Jarju will be presenting on that topic. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Arturo and Zaida, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I tried to go through.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Zaida Villegas. I am a year-round intern rotating with final PS&E and processing. This is my co-presenter, Arturo.
Hello, everybody. My name is Arturo Sanchez, and I'm a plan reviewer here in the design division.
Like David said, today we're going to be going over PS&E pre-submittal and submittal checklists. So today we're going to walk through the process of preparing and submitting 100% PS&E for final review before it's sent to letting. A lot of folks may ask, what do I need for a PS&E submittal and what documents are required? So let's get into that. So in our section, we follow the review and processing schedule for each fiscal year. You can find the schedule at the Finance Crossroads page at the link below. So this is Finance. You can find this in Finance's Divisions Crossroads page. So one of the most important dates to watch is the DES due date. So this is the box highlighted in the middle. So once submitted, we go through about a month-long review process. If the projects aren't submitted on time, or if we're not notified of a delay, it can push back everything. These dates are critical as we need to allow for a 21-day advertising window. The first box highlighted further to the left is the due date for draft certifications. When we receive your submittal, we compare the information provided in the certifications with what's been submitted to the corresponding divisions to ensure that everything is correct. So, requirements prior to submittal. Each fiscal year, we follow a structured review and processing schedule that guides our timeline. Districts are aware that we will be evaluating projects approximately 4 months prior to letting. This is when that certification due date comes into play. So districts are expected to submit draft certifications during this early review period. These are verified with the appropriate divisions. So these certifications include right-of-way, railroad, and utilities. Some of the newer certifications also include state-owned utilities, environmental approval, and CMP approval. So if any certification conflicts are not expected to resolve within a 5-month period, a construction management plan is required. So a CMP outlines how construction can proceed, usually through typically phased work. So we've been talking about submittal, so let's talk about required documentation. So obviously what would be required first would be a plan set. So the first link provided is the PS&E submittal instructions. So comes from the helper manual. This will help with larger projects. Organizing plan sheets can be tricky sometimes. So we also included a multi-volume plan set submittal guidance link. So there also another required document would be the project submittal checklist. So here is a link. So at the bottom, we also recommend that you explain the status of any submittal items, maybe something's missing, something's late, using that text box located on the bottom. So another really important document would be Form 1002. So we need the latest version, which was recently dropped in December 2025. Or not December 2025, my apologies, year 2025. So all sections must be filled in on the 1002 form, and we ask that the last page is signed. We also require Form 2229. So this is significant projects and procedures. So here are a few examples of kind of what we're looking for or what we tend to see a few common issues on the Form 1002. So first would be missing highway information. So limits tend to either be not filled out or they don't match TxDOT Connect. We also have certifications. We ask that the certifications provided on Form 1002 match the draft certifications that were submitted. Also, pedestrian and bicycle facilities, even if not applicable, that you check off those boxes. And finally, roadway design standards. Sometimes it may not be filled in or it doesn't match what's provided in TxDOT Connect. And at the very bottom, we ask that you sign your 1002 form. So PS&E submittal required documentation continued. So we also require the certifications that we previously discussed, including utilities, row. This includes encroachment, relocation, and railroad. We require that all are signed. If applicable, a 000 specs are approved and present in the specification list. You also need your construction schedule. May it be signed and dated and includes the correct start and finish dates. So we also require the general notes. I've provided a link for general notes from the PS&E preparation manual. There's also the engineer's estimate. We ask that you provide the correct bid items, quantities, prices, bridges, and force accounts, and lump sum equals 1. So finally, here are some examples. So usually what we tend to see on the certification is that the project ID number is filled out. We ask that that not be filled out because it may be changed later on and this could lead to an addenda. We also ask that your certification document be signed. And then finally, the contract time estimate, that the dates be correct and the delayed start matches what's provided in the specification, and finally that it be signed. So we also have conditional documentation. So this is if applicable. So Form 2699, the additional project specification liquidated damages. So this goes for 4R, 3R, HE, and SA projects. Form 2502, the value engineering study. Also design exceptions and waivers. Finally, engineers sign, seal, and date supplemental sheet. So this is if you have more than one sealing engineer, and also the SWP3 plan sheet requirement. So 1 acre or more, or less than 1 acre. So now that we've covered all of this important documentation, Arturo will walk us through the TxDOT Connect and what needs to be filled out.
Okay, let's start by reviewing the key components within TxDOT Connect that are essential for ensuring accuracy and compliance throughout the project setup process. First off, we have the location tab. Here it's critical to confirm that the project is mapped correctly, including all CSJs. If the project involves bridges, make sure that the proposed bridges table is also fully completed. Then we have the project details tab. Two important areas to focus on here are the environmentally clear section, which must be filled in to confirm Environmental clearance. Next is the pedestrian and bicycle facilities section. If your project includes pedestrian elements, ensure the bid items are categorized under pedestrian for proper tracking. Next is the letting tab. The contract summary section needs to be complete with details such as type of work, contract limits, contract number, and whether the project falls under preservation or mobility. And finally, the engineer's estimate tab. Every bid item listed here must have both a quantity and a price to ensure the estimate is accurate and ready for review. Now let's take a closer look at the engineer's estimate tab and the specification list tab within TxDOT Connect. And these sections are critical for ensuring accuracy and compliance before letting. First, it's the engineer's estimate tab. Here are the key checks to perform. Confirm that the estimate is currently in division control. Verify the design standard and ensure the waiver flag and responsible division are correct. Double check the bid type, working days, total contract cost, and proposal guarantee for accuracy. For mobilization, make sure the bid item is categorized as mobilization, not roadway, and that the quantity totals 100%. All bridge items must have the correct MBI number, and all utility items should have the correct utility number. Finally, any maintenance in the 700 series need to be flagged as federal non-participating. And next is the specification list tab. This tab should include all required standard specifications with their reference items, any 000 provisions, special provisions, and special specifications. For reference, you can always check the official TxDOT specification page, and the link is right there listed. Now that we've covered the core tabs, let's walk through the final set of tabs in TxDOT Connect to help ensure your project is fully validated and ready for letting. We're going to start off with the sealing and summary tab. We're going to make sure that all CSJs are sealed. Also confirm that the mobilization bid item total 100%, which is key requirement for project readiness. Next is the STIP tab. All federally funded CSJs must be STIP approved. Additionally, each CSJ should show phase approval for construction, which is essential for federal participation. Resource tab is next, and we're going to ensure that the construction manager's name, phone number, and email are entered correctly. The pre-bid approver or contact should also be listed. Under the workflow forms and templates tab, verify all spec and bid item requests have been properly approved and processed. And finally, the utilities tab. All utilities, including non-reimbursable ones, must be entered and up to date. This ensures there are no surprises during construction. And finally, the proposal. We're going to start off with the page 3 of the proposal, which shows the correct project number, accurate type of work, properly calculated working days, and the correct proposal guarantee amount. Next, the next check is the bid item inserts. There should be no duplicate items, no price discrepancies, and all items should be properly categorized and error-free. Then confirm that the general notes are included in the proposal and match the plan sheets. Key notes to look for include modified standard sheets, if applicable, item 7 traffic generator note, item 8 delay start, and item 8A plus B, 502 safety contingency, 504 field office / lab, 506 SW3P notes, and 6185 TMA notes. And finally, this is one of the, we wanted to add this as well. This is a statewide project submittal dashboard, just to give you guys an idea of where you guys are, where every district is at with submittals and any previous months that they have had submittals. You guys can go in and check that out with that link that's listed there below. And now for any questions, comments, or concerns.
Good job, Arturo and Zada. Thank you very much. I would like to say that a little bit of our stuff there is still being updated. So like the 6185, of course, that's new in the 2024 spec book that has its own item and whatnot. And a lot of the stuff is being updated on our website currently as we speak. We're actively working on it.
Yes, thank you, Micah. Looks like we do have a comment there in the chat. So it's on the certs. Do you want us to leave the project number blank so it can be added later, or should we get rid of it? I think with the draft certs, it's okay if you go ahead and leave it blank. With final certifications, let's go ahead and include that. Our biggest concern with the project number, at times we've seen where finance will send out a late email because maybe funding may have changed and the project number changes. Therefore, we got to go and make sure that we're updating all of the rest of the supporting documents throughout the project with the updated project number. So as long as we're up to date and aware of when those changes come through and we can get those documents updated, we'll be fine. So that's our main concern with that project number. We don't necessarily want to process an addendum just for a project number change, but we will do so in some cases. Yes, Josh. So final PS&E with the final submittal, yes, it should be there. Yes, Betsy, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, hello everyone. I do have a question for Form 2229, where at the bottom, where we select 2 or more reasons why the project should have LDF, liquidated damages. And we're to provide a comment or a response to when we have 2 or more selections, yet we feel that the project does not qualify for LD. So at the bottom, it kind of throws off that section is where you want the comments, so we often don't get, the explanation for why the project does not fall for LDs, regardless that we have 2 or more selections. So is that one gonna get eventually, revised, or it stays that way? And then what kind of explanation do you want to see on there when the LDs are, not really into the project?
So Betsy, I'll steal this one right here. If you have a project, and let's say, for example, let's say it's a landscape job, just throwing one out there, right? Well, if you're not impeding traffic, things aren't really happening, and really affecting the traveling public, then that's all you need to put down there in that bottom for that explanation is we're not impeding traffic. We don't want the additional LDs. Even if you have 2 or more boxes checked, you can say, it just really doesn't apply. And we'll accept that 100%. If you get into, that popped up. You get into, straight up roadway stuff and you are impeding traffic and you have 2 more check boxes, we really would like to see some additional liquidated damages added to the job, and then throw those in your general notes and say, hey, we're going to increase this by whatever your road user cost is, $2,000, $5,000, whatever happens to be a day. And it gives kind of the contractor a little extra incentive to take care of business and do what it needs to without you having to fine him. Does that kind of make sense? I know the wording on the 2229, it's not exactly, or the 2699, whichever one it was, is not exactly right, but it's does that make sense to you?
Yeah, and I guess it does for me, but it seems like for our team, it kind of throws everybody off, because I've been here, it's like not so many years, and I've been before. And I think it's 12699, not 2229. Not correct. I think I called out the wrong form, but either way, I hope everybody kind of understands.
Okay.
I'm referring to the LDs form.
Right. Well, our administration has pushed for the additional LDs for a couple of years now. So if you have the opportunity to use them, by all means, use them, please. If you don't want them for whatever reason, I mean, put your reason why you don't want them. You know, whether it's a small job or you're really not impeding traffic, or your DE said he didn't want them. If you know, whatever the reason is, I mean, throw it in there, and we'll take whatever reason you got.
Okay, thank you. I was not, I just want to make sure that I have a clear what reason is there a particular reason that we should put on there, but if it goes for anything, even, you know, our district head says no LGs, then we put that in, that's good enough. That works for us. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you, Betsy. We do have a question from the chat. Arturo Terrazas is asking, how long before project letting does the district design need to receive the final PS&E? I've heard answers between 3 and 5 months. Arturo, can you clarify? Are you talking about when a consultant's working on the design and getting it to the district so that they can submit it to us as a division?
Yes, that is correct. What date should
so
do for the consultants?
Yeah, so I'm going to defer to the districts on that. The districts are aware of when final PS&E is due to the design division itself. So the districts can set their own timelines of when they're going to need final or 100% PS&E from the consultant. If some districts are saying 3 months and some are saying 5, I would assume that would depend based on what their internal review QA QC looks like, so that they can meet the overarching PS&E review processing schedule that was shown, I think, on the second slide of this presentation. So it's going to vary from district to district.
And in terms from, I guess, from design, is it 3 months from design? I mean, for design division?
Well, so final PS&E is due to us typically 2 months before letting. So if we're looking at the September letting, final PS&E is due to us in July. So there's 2 months there. So if the district is saying that they need it, 3 to 5 months prior to that July date, that's so that the district has time to review it themselves. Again, that could vary from district to district, as long as we, as a design division, are receiving those final PS&E packages on that second column that's highlighted there.
Okay. So then for design division, it is 2 months, and then anything prior to that is basically at the district discretion. If I'm understanding correctly. Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You are welcome. All right. We have another question in the chat from Jeff Miles. It says, on categorizing the pedestrian and bicycle elements in the estimate, we had been questioned on the components associated with the signal. We believe it's more appropriate that the signal items should all be under signal work. We do still include the cost of the TDLR and the field in TxDOT Connect, but we think in the project estimate, the electrical work should go under the signal guidance. Is there consideration for supporting this approach?
I can steal that one from you, David. No. So our administration has asked to track all of the pedestrian elements, and they like to keep up with that and report that to our head honchos above them with the state. And so what they like to see is things like our walking lights, pedestrian poles, push buttons, et cetera, that are categorized as pedestrian elements. That way they can run a quick run through for the year and say, hey, we've done this much work towards pedestrian elements. So we've done this much work towards bike elements, but of course, bike and pedestrians, 2 different things. Bikes are more vehicles, pedestrians are walking. I know most people get that, some people don't, but they do need to be classified as pedestrian elements. Sorry, Jeff, that's the way we need to go with it.
All right. Do we have any other questions on this particular topic? I know there was a lot that was discussed. At the end of the day, we're here to help you get your projects across the goal line, like I said before. So When we do send our comments to y'all each month, thank you. It's more so making sure that the projects are in the state where they need to be so that we can get them to letting. It's not coming from a point of, oh, hey, you missed this, or pointing fingers. It's truly trying to get the project across the finish line.
He asked another question.
Oh, yes, can you read the question?
Would you consider adding a new field because this would help add goal?
Let me read the question so everybody could hear it. It says, would you consider adding a new field because this would help admin goal with the contractors in the review? So I mean, we can always consider how we're tracking these things. I know the purpose, and it's been tracked this way for a while because it's an easy way to track the safety aspect. How are we improving, pedestrian and bike facilities, and get a quick number there so we can provide those documents to the commissioners. When we're designing projects, it's an easy way to say that, hey, we spent, $30 million on pedestrian and bike improvements throughout the state for the year, or wherever the case may be. So if there's any way that we can, I guess, make it more granular on what we're tracking, I'm not going to say that it's not a possibility. We can definitely look into that, but that's the purpose of it as it states right now. Okay, so before we move on, again, just want to mention that if you have any questions with anything regarding your projects, please feel free to reach out to anyone in the final PS&E processing section, specifically your reviewer with your project. They're going to know firsthand what's going on with your project, and they're going to try to provide an answer for you, pretty quickly. If it's a little bit more in depth and we need to go and get with TxDOT Connect because something's not quite producing the right document, we know the right people to talk to so we can get that expedited as well. So with that, just feel free to reach out to us if you have a question. All right, so moving on to the next presentation, we are going to discuss early plans posting and plans online. With us to discuss early plans posting is Micah Shaw. Plans online, Rebecca Lucas will be presenting on that. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate the interaction there in the chat. That's really good stuff. We're going to talk about early plan posting. I am Mike Shaw with the final plans processing section, and Becky will be following me up here with plans online. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be good. Next slide, please. All right. We're going to talk a little bit about the website, a little bit about the SOP, part of our appendix stuff, the schedule. And this is one thing we're going to push. You're going to see the schedule in almost every presentation we have. You're going to see this schedule over and over again. It's very important to us. It should be important to everybody across the state. We'll talk a little bit about how to get FTP access. And let's move on to the next slide, please. All right. When you hit our website, this Crossroads, Divisions, Design Sections, Final PS&E Processing, we've got 6 main sections. One of these, and this is a public-facing website, so your contractors can see it, you can see it, everybody can get to this stuff. The 6th one there is called Preliminary Contract Review, and we have 2 links there. One is our SOP, and the other is our Appendix A. I do have live links in here when we share this slideshow. You can certainly click on this. It'll take you right to it. Next slide, please, ma'am. So in general, our SOP has a lot of stuff in it, but in general, we recommend that you post all your plans early that are over $15 million. I know when I came out of the district, we posted everything, whether it was a $100,000 job or a $50 million job, it didn't matter. We put everything out there to get input from contractors, consultants, whatever it happened to be. And we played on those quite a bit. I can remember just one instance where I had designed a traffic signal and I thought everything was great. I put in all this boring, we're going underneath the road, we're running wires back and forth and blah, blah, blah. And I had a subcontractor call me and say, hey, or he didn't call me, he put it on the website, but he called me or hit me up and said, you could probably cut this cost in like a third if you did open trench instead of boring for everything that's outside the roadway. And I was like, you know what, you're probably right. And And it did. It worked out really, really good. So if you have a super technical job, anything like that, go ahead and post it. Now, requirements for this, if you have a job that pushes that $50 million kit, you have to post this job early. That's an administration requirement. We think if you get around that $40 to $45 million area and you're still working on your estimate through advertisement and all that good stuff, go ahead and post the job, because your estimate may go ahead and push that over that $50 million. It is the district's responsibility to post these jobs. This does not fall on us, doesn't fall to Austin, doesn't fall to anybody else. This is straight up the district's responsibility to take care of it. And we always only want one set of plans advertised at any point at any given time. So if you're advertising a year early at 30%, and 6 months early at 60%, and 3 months early at 95%, and then we get all the way to our advertisement period, you're advertising 100%, whatever you're at in that process, make sure and get rid of the old set of plans all the way up to our advertisement. When we throw things on plans online, you need to make sure and remove anything that you had that was done before. And we do have a requirement as far as the directory naming goes. This is just straight up your FTP site, your district name, early plan review, and 100%. This is the required area. If you're doing your 30%, 60%, 95%, they can be in different directories. But our requirement for jobs over $50 million, this is the exact file directory structure that we require. Next slide, please. All right. There are some requirements when you post plans early. You have to have a watermark across it, and we'll get into that on the next slide in a minute as far as the transparency and that kind of stuff. But we do have a date that you have to have these jobs that are over $50 million posted to, and that is the advertisement date. So, or the plans due to us date. So when plans are due to us, if you have a job that is absolutely required to be posted, you have to have that job posted during our review process, taken down whenever we advertise it to plans online. That's pretty much what everything right here has to say. You can read it. I'm not going to read it verbatim for you. Next slide, please. All right. Inside of our Appendix A, which there's a link in our guidance document there, it gives you some solid instructions on kind of what to put in, how to do your watermarks. This watermark needs to be on every page all the way through the plans. It's a simple PDF that you just throw up there. We've got a lot of questions about how much can we throw out there? What can we not throw out there? Well, there is a cover sheet that we require, also goes in this, and it'll tell you, you can put in your plan sheets. You can throw in your spec list. You can throw in your estimate, but do not include prices. You can throw in your general notes, the 8.5 by 11s if you want. You can throw in cross sections if you want somebody to see it. Just make sure it always says preliminary, not subject for bidding. You can throw in your schedule if you have an idea that, hey, I've got 4 bridges and I'm planning on you working on all of them at the same time, or I've got 4 bridges and I want you to do them sequentially. Throw in that schedule so the contractor knows what you're expecting whenever they go to bid. Next slide, please. This, again, our schedule is very important to us. You can see on the left-hand side, this is when things are due to us. So, for example, in September jobs were due to us July 3rd, and we will advertise them no later than August 13th. Now, we try real hard to finish our stuff a week or 10 days early and start advertising things. And we send a concurrence email out. That concurrence email typically says, good comment there, Pam. I like that. We all live and die by the schedule. You are absolutely correct. But we have if we advertise your job 10 days early, then we ask you to remove those early plan postings offline, because we're fixing to put your final plans out there to be bid on. Of course, anything after that's adjusted by addendum, so it's all good. Next slide, please. Our FTP access. Now, I'm kind of old school. I've been here for a while, and my FTP access was done through the mainframe user ID. And that's not the case anymore since we retired mainframe. Hoorah. Yep, we like it. Hoorah. Any military people out there, whatever your wording is, it's all good. But if you need FTP access, the easiest thing to do is to go put in a ticket with TxDOT now. And the kind of ticket you need and the way you need to word it and the extra access, the extra software you need, all that good stuff. If you will go straight to your search bar at TxDOT now and punch in FileZilla, which FileZilla is one of the programs we use to transfer things to the FTP site and back from the FTP site. If you punch in that FileZilla, it gives you a requesting access and password reset PDF document, and there's a link here to it. This is the best way to get the access you need. I can't do it for you. This is something you have to do on your own and figure it out. Typically, we only want 2, maybe 3 people at the district level having access to the FTP, but it doesn't mean you can't have more than that. You know, you always want at least one person taking care of it and at least one backup. Next slide, please. And here's just some overview of the whole thing. Only one version of the plans can be given at any time. Always make sure that when we advertise the given set to be bid on, that all preliminary plans are removed from online. That way there's no questions, no comments. Contractor says, hey man, your layout sheet looks this way, but the ones over here look this way. Well, just take them off. That way they don't have access to them anymore. If you do get questions and comments in your early plans posting, you need to post those to the FTP site so that everybody can see them. You don't want to single out one contractor and say, hey, yeah, this is really what we meant, blah, blah, blah. Just put it all out there. Whenever we advertise the plans, remove all that stuff. All Q&As, everything gets removed, and you kind of start over from scratch. Make sure that you've got a cover sheet. Make sure your watermarks are on there. Again, that Appendix A gives you instructions on how to do it. Never include prices with anything you send out. I know we have a couple of web pages where we give overall total estimate costs, but we don't want to give a contractor, hey, we're planning on, $5 for each RPM. We're planning on $7 for each, crosswalk striping, all that good stuff. So do not include prices anywhere else. And that is about it. Next slide, please. And we are going to move into Rebecca's section of Plans Online. We will hold question comments to the end of her thing, but hit me up with any questions you've got, and we'll sure try to answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Micah. So my name is Becky Lucas, as Micah said, and I'm the Plans Online Administrator here at TxDOT. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about how Plans Online fits into the review process here in FPP. So Plans Online is basically the last step in the plan review process. Once the plan reviewers receive their projects and address all of the comments and get a concurrence email from the district, they notify Plans Online. And once I receive that notification, I will create an indexed PDF file of the plans and upload them to the FTP site. And I start uploading the projects usually 2 Fridays before release. So for October projects, release date is September 16th. So if you're looking at a calendar and you go back 2 Fridays, that would be September 5th. So I will start uploading October projects tomorrow to the FTP site, any of the ones that have already received concurrence from the districts. And the FTP site is where the contractors, plans companies, local governments, really anyone in the general public can download letting files. And along with the plan and plan revision files, I also upload the proposal and proposal addenda files to the FTP site. And the FTP site is the only place that contractors can access the plan and plan revision files. But the proposal files are not, whoops, sorry. Sorry, guys. Let me get my mouse straight, I'm sorry. The proposal and proposal addenda files are, the Plans Online site is not the official archive for that. That would be ICX. That's where the contractors go to get the official proposals that they're going to use for bidding. But the plans and plan revision files, the FTP site, that's the only place the contractors can go to find those files. So once Once the plans have been uploaded to the FTP site, any changes that you guys need to make will have to be an addendum, because when I upload those files, it is immediate. As soon as I hit that upload button, those files are available to the general public. And we don't have any way of knowing who's downloaded those files once they're posted, which is why we can't make any changes to those files once we have them out there. Now, the one exception to that is if you guys are going to make a change that does not affect the bid amount or the scope of work in any way, we can usually change those sheets out. And that would be something like a missing signature. Usually it's a missing signature on a title page, or maybe a missing page number on a plan sheet, something minor like that that isn't going to affect the bid in any way. We can go ahead and change those. We can switch those pages out even if the plans have been posted. So these are just a few reminders for you guys that will help me when I'm processing the plan files. So before you send your plans in, please double check to make sure that there are not any password protected sheets. If you guys have passwords on any of your plan sheets, I can't do anything with those files. Then we'll end up having to ask for new pages or send the plan set back, which just takes extra time. It's easier just to check all that before submitting the plans. And file size is another issue we've seen recently in the last few months. Please check those individual plan sheets and make sure you don't have any that are super huge, that are large. Most individual plan files should be around a megabyte in size. If you have photos or color on your plan sheets, those are going to be big, and I understand that. But this is more talking about the plan sheets that are just black and white, they're just text. If you find one, if you see one in your plan set that's really, really large, if you could try to reduce that file size, that will be very helpful. Some of our contractors, especially the subs, have problems downloading the really large files from the FTP site. The easiest way I've found to reduce that file size is to open up the PDF. I use Foxit, and go to File, PDF Optimizer, Reduce File Size, and then you can choose either a single file, or if you have multiple files in your plan set that are large, you can choose the multiple files option and run it through the optimizer, and it'll reduce that file size. Okay, the last reminder. If you guys do end up releasing an addendum and it has plan sheets associated with it, please make sure that the file names on those plan sheets are identical to the original plan sheets that you submitted. I have to replace those sheets, and if the file names don't match, then I have to go in and manually replace them, which takes extra time, but it also increases the chance of errors happening when I have to do that manually. And we do have a tool that you guys can use to ensure that those plan file names match. It's the plan sheet and addendum sheet counter. And there's a link at the bottom of the slide that you guys can use. So this is what the addendum sheet counter will look like when you open it. And you can see on the left-hand side, it lists the revised plan sheets with their file names. And on the right-hand side, it has the original plan sheets with their file names. And so in that last column, you can see there were 2 sheets that were added for this revision, and there are 3 that match. So those 3 are good to go. But you'll notice that sheet 2 and sheet 7 are blank in that last column. Those file names don't match. I think on sheet 2, there's an extra S on the word sheet for index of sheets. And then on sheet 7, there's a number 2 behind the word creek. So you guys would just need to fix those 2 file names before you send them in, just to make sure that they are identical.
If I may, Becky, this addendum sheet counter has the ability to, when you bring it in, if your sheets are the same page number and all that, there's a button you can push that says rename files, and it takes care of it for you and renames them back to the original portfolio name. So it's not like you have to go in and manually do it. You can check it here, hit the rename file button, and it just does it for you.
Okay. Awesome. And if you have any questions about that addendum sheet counter, you can reach out to Micah. He gave me permission to give you his name.
Absolutely.
Now, this last slide is just some additional duties that Plans Online has. A lot of these probably won't apply to you guys, but we just wanted to give you an idea of some of the other things that Plans Online does besides process the state-led construction plans. So I also process all of the local let maintenance and state let maintenance projects and post those out to the FTP site. I create and post the contract plans for both state-let construction and state-let maintenance. I handle all the open records requests for plans that we get in design, and for the department, if they're asking for plan sheets, those open records requests usually come to me. I process all the as-built requests from internal users. I also maintain the as-built database in Alchemy for the department. I maintain a pavement design file database for materials and test division. And we are also in the beginning stages of a project with IT to migrate all of our letting information from Alchemy over to ProjectWise. So that ProjectWise will become the official repository for as-built plans and letting plans. I don't have a deadline yet on when that's going to be complete, but when we get more information on that, we'll be sure to let you guys know. And that is mine. Do you have any questions for me or Micah?
Thank
All
you,
right,
Becky.
thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Becky, Micah. Great job. A lot of helpful information there. I do see a question here in the chat, so we'll start off with that. If anybody has a response or has any other questions they want to ask, by all means, use your raise your hand button on there. We'll definitely call on you. So first question here, Amir Shamet. He says the PS&E is showing to post plans 3 weeks prior to letting. Have you said 5 weeks? So I'm assuming you're referring to the PS&E review schedule. So yes, I'll take this question. So yes, it does show 3 weeks prior to letting. That's the 21-day advertisement window. That's usually the last day that we are able to publish the proposals. When it comes to the publishing or posting the plan sets, technically we can post them that day, up until that day, but it's just not feasible to post anywhere from 60 to 100 projects to Plans Online in that one day. That's why we start 2 Fridays before that proposal publishing day. So like Becky said, for the October letting, tomorrow we will start posting those plans. Again, we don't post those without concurrence from the district, right? So we have the projects for a little bit of time to review. We're looking at the PS&E of it. Our reviewers will send a concurrence email before we post anything. So in that, we receive concurrence from the district. We'll go ahead and send that to Becky, and Becky will get those posted. Again, starting 2 Fridays before that proposal publishing day. That gives us time to post all those plan sets each month. Does that answer your question, Amir, or do you have follow-up on that?
Yes, sir, you answered. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, next question, Benjamin Cox. We used to file protect the sheets so our engineer signatures can't be modified. Are we not protecting the sheets anymore, or just not worried about it?
I'll take that one, David. So having your sheets sealed and signed as a PDF in a portfolio is super good, well and wonderful, Bill. It's that is what you want going into it. However, when we post plans online, these get converted over to a simple PDF, and it's just a more or less a thrown together PDF, and each title of each sheet is a bookmark. So the protection is actually removed as we post it. Now, your original sheet with the protection and the engineer seal and all that you have for your files is great to have. What we don't need is password protected. If it's password protected, it won't let us create that simple PDF for us to post plans online. That's the big thing. Protected is okay. Password protected is not. Make sure you don't have a password on it. That answer your question there, Mr. Cox? All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Any other questions? Don't be shy. All right. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Becky. Okay, again, with this, anything with Plans Online related, reach out to Becky and she will get y'all squared away with whatever you need. Obviously, Mike is our guru over here, so you can reach out to him on pretty much anything and he'll get you pointed in the right direction as well. Next up, we are going to discuss the mandatory pre-bid meeting requests and everything that goes along with that. We have Monica Gonzalez and Sam Moore.
Should we fluster Monica? Make sure it's got that P behind her name, newest engineer in the state. Huh? Look at that.
Good morning. My name is Monica Gonzalez. And before we get started, I want you guys to first imagine this scenario. So imagine the city of Austin is putting out a bid for a new community swimming pool in your neighborhood. It's all over the news, and your kids are super excited because they've heard rumors it's going to have a lot of slides. You get invited to the pre-bid meeting, and you hear each of the following scenarios. So the first contractor shows up, and he already has an estimate ready to go for a huge 25-meter Olympic-sized swimming pool. The second contractor shows up, but he's under the impression that it's going to be like this whimsical little splash pad. And then the third contractor shows up, and he's super excited to get started on this big jacuzzi with neon lights and a DJ booth. So, who's going to get the bid? Well, before we answer that question, that scenario actually highlights the need for today's topic. So the importance of the mandatory pre-bid meeting for the bidding process. So what exactly is it? It's a meeting that all prospective bidders must attend. And the purpose is simple, to make sure that everybody has the same clear understanding of the project before they submit their bids. Think of it as an opportunity to get like the inside scoop on the project. So at this meeting, the project team will explain specific requirements that it has, maybe point out any unusual aspects, and of course, answer any bidder questions that they may have. So by doing this, they make sure that the bidders don't waste their time or money working with incomplete or incorrect information. So now let's break this down into a few key aspects. You see here on the slide, the first one is purpose. This shares details about the project, again, highlights maybe any tricky areas that it's going to have, and again, answer general questions. Attendance. It's mandatory, period. Every bidder has to be there, and it is recommended to at least hold 2 sessions. One of them can be virtual. Timing. It's at least a week after the proposal is released and at least a week before the bids are due. Benefits. That way everybody leaves with the same information, which creates a fair and smooth bidding process. So in short, a mandatory pre-bid meeting ensures transparency. Everybody gets equal access to the same information, and that way it has a chance to kind of clarify any uncertainties. That way, when it does come time to submit their bids, nobody is at a disadvantage. So it's not just a simple formality. It really is a valuable step to help both the bidders and the project team avoid problems later on. So now that we've established why it's necessary, now let's look into what kinds of projects benefit from this process. So what kinds of projects benefit from this? Projects involving hazardous materials, unique design elements, complex construction methods, and more examples are laid out in the slide. Each of these situations creates a very unique and project-specific situation that could possibly create confusion, delays, or maybe even generate some safety issues during construction. Because look, we all want the same thing. We want a well-designed product that is safe to build, safe to drive on, but especially completed within the allotted budget and time frame. And communication is key in every single one of these situations. So now that we've established why it's important, let's dig a little bit deeper into the process of making this request. And with that, I'm going to hand the mic over to Sam.
I'm Sam. I'm one of the plan reviewers here in the team. And so the pre-bid meeting request starts with you, the district, submitting a memo to the DES-FPP director before the final PS&E due date. It's preferred the memo is sent as far in advance as possible, as it gives us time to review and provide a thorough and timely response. Once he's completed his review, he'll then send it up to the director and deputy director for their approval. This again highlights the need for an early submittal. This memo needs to pass through several hands before it's approved. After approval is granted, the director will then notify construction. Then construction will reach out to the district to obtain the attendance list. And at this point, the district has the responsibility of filling out the pre-bid meeting information in TxDOT Connect. This is located under the project information tab. The district must also include a pre-bid meeting note in item 2 of the general notes. It's important that the information in the general notes proposal matches what is provided in TxDOT Connect. It's best that this note is near the top of the general notes and not hidden somewhere in the middle or end. It's also recommended to include a statement indicating the prospective bidders will be disqualified if they do not attend, and that prospective bidders must sign in to ensure their attendance is documented or their bid will risk being rejected. So what does this memo look like? Is it a long 10-page letter? Thankfully, no. This is usually a concise 1-page memo. It should include the date, time, and a short explanation of the need for the pre-bid meeting. Also, don't forget the signatures. To help you choose an appropriate date, refer to the PS&E processing schedule. As you see in the 5th column, there's a corresponding due date for each letting month. For example, we're currently reviewing the October letting month project, so that would mean that the memo should have been submitted on or before August 8th. So earlier we mentioned having all this information in TxDOT Connect. Now let's go a bit further into that portion. Once the request has been approved, the district will have the responsibility of entering the meeting information in TxDOT Connect. You can find the location under the project information tab, and then click on bidder information. You'll then see the pre-bidders conference subheading. As a reminder, it's very important that this information matches what's located in the general notes. The plan reviewers will be on the lookout for this during the PS&E review. Now let's summarize all of this information in a way that's easy to remember.
Thank you, Sam. So as we've learned, pre-bid meetings can be a vital tool for conveying critical information for prospective bidders. They help ensure clarity, reduce any misunderstandings, and of course, support a more efficient and competitive bidding process. Think of it as, there's just certain occasions where it's just better to have a face-to-face conversation instead of sending out a simple text message. Because look, I think we've all been there at one point or another where maybe our tone was misperceived in a text message, or maybe the gravity of the situation wasn't accurately conveyed via text. And that's exactly what we don't want. We don't want something complicated to be misunderstood because it wasn't clearly explained through written documentation alone. Again, sometimes it's just best to go old school and have that face-to-face conversation. So let's go back to the beginning. Are we getting a 25-meter Olympic-sized swimming pool, a kiddie splash pad, or a cool jacuzzi with a DJ? Well, the answer is whatever is clearly outlined in the plan set and thoroughly explained at the pre-bid meeting. So before we turn our attention to hazardous material request, we actually like to open up the floor to anybody that has a question on this topic. Pretty straightforward.
right.
think you covered it. I think you covered it really, really good, Monica. No questions at all. That's impressive.
Sam and I worked very hard on it. Thank you all this morning.
Great job. Great job. Like Sam and Monica said, this is a tool basically just to clarify projects that might have a little quirkiness to it, right? So by all means, there's no harm in having a pre-bid meeting, and whether it's mandatory or not, that's another thing as well. But as long as you specify and give those dates and times where people can meet and go over those projects, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. Just provide clarity on those projects. All right, last topic up for today. We're gonna move into the hazardous material requests. We do have Jacob Harrington and Alison Jarju presenting on this. Floor is yours, guys.
Hey, thanks, David. Good morning, y'all. My name is Jacob Harrington, and this is Alison Jarju. We're plan reviewers as well. And today we're going to be talking about, let's move this mic here. I feel like I'm hunched over, about the hazardous mitigations request. I'll try to make this quick and painless since I know we're the last one. I always like to point out they saved the best for last. So make this easy and painless as possible because I know we're keeping everybody from eating some food, so I'm kind of hungry, so let's go through this rather quickly. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Oh, you already did it. Sorry, Alison. Okay. The management and remediation of hazardous materials at TxDOT is a process that requires the adherence to regulations. You got to have effective communication, and you definitely need the qualified personnel. Now, the department's main goal is they want to remove these hazardous materials within the right-of-way prior to letting. Such materials which may be found will be asbestos, lead paint, or those hydrocarbons, which are predominantly found from underground storage tanks. And those usually are discovered by the contractors during construction. Now, here are some associated special specs and special provisions. SS 5009, the abate and remove asbestos containing materials, ACM. You gotta love TxDOT and all the acronyms. So if y'all hear me refer to ACM, you know what I'm referring to. SS 5011, this minimizes the worker's risk of lead exposure when torch cutting, heating, welding, or grinding, anything that has these lead containing coatings. SP 006, XXX, hazardous materials. It's regarding the compliance of the soil and groundwater, the management plan for the project. Now, the special provision here, SP 09, the measurement and payment force account, this is developed by the districts with the assistance from the Environmental Division, HMM. And when I say HMM, I'm referring to the Hazardous Materials Management. Now, the force account, some of y'all are probably wondering why force account is used. Well, it's used, number one, a contractor will not have to bid on this service. It removes the contamination issues from the bidding process. Also, not all line items can be determined prior to the work commencing. And updated insurances and anything associated with the contamination can be reimbursed. Asbestos and lead containing paint are paid with line items through their special specification. Now I'm going to hand this over here to Alison. He's going to talk to you all about the methods in the mitigation process.
Thank you, Jacob. So I'll be touching on the methods involved in the mitigation process. I would rather call these circumstantial or situational methods. And the first of those is when hazmats are identified prior to letting a project. And number two, when hazmats are identified prior to letting a project. But it's a special case here where the mitigation process cannot be separated from the main project activities. That means the process has to be incorporated into the plans. And the third one, when hazmats are identified during the project operations. So in the first situation here, when hazmats are identified prior to letting a project, so in this instance, the job should be performed by a specialty contractor before the work begins on the project. And this is coordinated by Environmental Division. Now the second one, the same case as the first one, but in this case, there's an exception here. The mitigation process cannot be separated from the main project activities. So this could be related to with some like structural work that precedes the mitigation process. It could be structural demolition, it could be structural displacement, or it could be structural removal, where the main contractor performs the job. So it makes sense that This process is part of the PS&E. So in this case, like I said earlier, the process would need to be incorporated into the plans. But however, it would require approval from the Director of District Operations before that can be done. Continuing from that second situation there, so when item 446, and that is the cleaning and painting of structure, is being used for mitigation, then the process needs to be a separate project. Except if it's not practical. In that case, the process can be included in the plans following approval from the Director of District Operations. Now, there are conditions to be met before the Director of District Operations considers approval of such projects. And it could be either of the three below here. And the first one is if mitigation and abatement processes cannot be separated from the work activities, as noted earlier. And if additional lane closures could be reduced when the prime contractor performed the mitigation process and in tandem with other structural work, and when the department could face the risk of excessive risk, like when two different contractors perform the job on the same site, and the risk factors could could come from coordination or mobilization, et cetera, et cetera. Now on to the third situation here, when hazards are discovered during project operations. Now there are two ways to address it, the mitigation process here. Either through the coordination with environmental division, a specialty contractor can perform the operation, or the job can be done by the prime contractor, so long as they are willing and able, meaning they have the qualification and the proper equipment to do the job. And I'll hand over back to Jacob to touch on consulting and immediate contracts based on mitigation.
All right, thanks, Alassane. Number one here, the environmental consultants. The environmental consulting contracts are maintained by the environmental division, and what that helps assist with is the assessment of hazardous materials, the development of these management plans to address the hazardous materials before and or during construction. These districts can coordinate with the environmental division consultants to determine the presence of these hazardous materials, determine the extent of the contamination, and it will help them prepare a remediation action plan. Continuing on, also contracts with several remediation contractors, again, are maintained by environmental division. Catching a grasp here, right? It's all environmental division predominantly. These contractors are equipped with qualified staff and the equipment necessary to remove, transport, or dispose of these contaminated materials before the inception of a work is done on a project. Now, finally jumping into the main part, the meat and potatoes, as I like to call it, the good stuff, the steps, probably what y'all been waiting for. First and foremost, you want to have a mitigation plan development, which again is here with the environmental division. This plan identifies and addresses contaminated media impacts on the project and guided contractors' work, with TxDOT assuming the liabilities if the plan is followed. You're going to want to notify the local AGC, which is the Associated General Contractors chapter. You're then going to want to notify design at or before 60% plans online, and then design is going to submit a memo for the admin approval. And once that is approved, it is then followed by preparing the following template documents: the SP06 XXX hazardous materials, and then you have the SP to item 9, the measurement and force account. Now, you may also have creation of additional special specs where it is necessary. This is determined by the mitigation plan from the environmental division. Each one is different, and it all depends on what construction process might be affected. Let me give you all a brief example about that. You have a storm sewer being affected by petroleum contaminated groundwater, and you might have to exchange asphalt gaskets for petroleum resistant gaskets. And you can encase the pipe in less permeable backfill than the surrounding soils. A special spec for storm sewers might need to be produced for this issue. Environmental division will help determine what special spec might be needed. For the asbestos abatement use, you'll want to use SS 5009, and then for the lead containing paint, you want to use SS 5011. And then finally here, district will help submit the PS&E package to design, and then design is going to review this package. And then you're going to have this district pre-bid meeting, which Monica and Sam just touched on. You definitely, a pre-bid meeting is recommended, but personally, I'm going to say highly, highly, highly recommended. And this may be organized by the district to discuss the mitigation measures included with the PS&E. Now, without further ado, that is the end of our presentation. Are there any questions?
This is Jacob's idea. In case
Oh,
you
is it
wonder.
my idea? I think it was Alison.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Great job, guys. Is there any questions from anybody online or in the chat? I know there's like quite a bit of information there.
I think when it comes to the I love this slide. When it comes to the full-blown efforts there, make sure to include environmental with whatever you're doing. They're the key players in this. We're just reviewers. Environmental they are the people that knows exactly what's going on and what you need to do. So hit us up, no doubt about it, but always include your environmental personnel with this stuff.
All right. Thank you, Micah. Thank you, Alison. Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, so like Micah said, you know, the environmental division and the district should be working hand in hand way before final PS&E is due to us. So by the time that I get the hazardous material request memo, I usually reach out to environmental just to make sure that everything's on the up and up to send my recommendation up the way for approval to the Director of District Operations. Pretty straightforward process, you know, a lot of players involved in it. But if you do your due diligence ahead of time, you know, it's pretty straightforward. With that, is there any questions or follow-up to any of the topics that we discussed today? We can go back to any one of the presentations if we need to. No? All right. With that, we're done for today. We will have the second part of our webinar series tomorrow, same time, same place. If there's anybody that happens to be in the area and would like to join us here in person, here at Stastny, we are here at Prairies and Lake on the 4th floor. So by all means, more than welcome to come and join us. We'll be discussing addenda tomorrow, construction management plans, and delayed start requests. With that, I will see y'all tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you for joining. Talk to you later.